Hi folks, this is you speaking again. Today we are going to deal with IDC connectors. IDC stands for Insulation Displacement Contact. It's not that important to recall the full name. That's only for people who are taking care of the history of these connectors. It's important though to recognize the acronym, because when you have to buy or to look for them, you have to know what you're looking for. IDC. So what are they useful for? They are present as two rows of contacts. For instance, this one here is a 26-pin IDC connector, two rows of 13 pin each. In the most of the cases, this is a female connector, but depending on the use, you can also have a male connector, like this. Different sizes. I said this was 26 contacts, 2 times 13. This one here is 2 times 8. This one here is 2 times 10, so it's making 20. And it may easily go up to this one. By the way, this one is for a Raspberry Pi. And this one is 2 times 20, so it's making a total of 40 contacts. Okay? Now, they are not only used in computers. They were used in computers for many years, these kind of flat cables. Not with IDC connectors, but it doesn't matter, similar ones. But the flat cables is just to keep the wires organized, because if you use independent wires, everything may become very messy. So before coming back and talking more about them, let's find out some typical use of these ones. Like here, I have a messy arrangement on the breadboard, and you've seen this one again. However, because I'm using one of my 2-digit displays, here I have such a connector, so it's easy to have everything organized. On the other side though, here there are individual wires coming out of this flat cable, as you can see here, and everything is very messy. Okay? So if you just remove one of the wires without willing to do it, everything is going to become dysfunctional. Okay? Here is a better example, because from this display, out of it is coming directly a flat cable, and I connect it to the other side of the project, like this. I connect it right here to the other side of the project, so when I start counting, everything goes just fine. Okay? So, connection with 16 wires between the display and the rest of the project. Okay? So, let's go back to see how we work with them. Okay? I'm gonna pick up this one here, 20 pin, or this one here, 26, because they are organized similar way. You notice that somewhere here on the connector, there is a little protuberance which is called a notch. And the purpose of that notch is to identify the pin number 1. It's not easy to see from a distance, but right here where I put my finger is a little arrow, and the little arrow shows where is the pin number 1, because this one has 20 pins. And in order to make good connections on both sides of the cable, you have to know where is the pin number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. So the pin number 1 is marked with a little arrow, and on the cable, this colored wire here, it's exactly to mark the wire number 1. So 1, 2, 3, and so on, up to the last one. Okay? Similarly here, absolutely similarly here, it's a 26-pin connector, and right here in the bottom, on the plastic case of the connector, there is a little arrow indicating here is the pin number 1, and of course it's followed by the colored wire. Or if you have a rainbow flat cable, it's very easy, because once you identify the pin number 1, so here is the notch is less visible because the connector is black, here is going to be the pin number 1, so you're going to be able to follow the wire. And when you make the connector, because this is in 99% of the cases a straight cable, you arrange the two connectors in the same way, so with the notch in the top. So you're going to see that the pin number 1, which is the colored wire, the pin number 1 is aligned in the same place. So it doesn't come like that, okay? Because if you do this, it's not a straight cable anymore. So it's gonna be very difficult to deal with that. So in the most of the cases, it's like that, okay? Now, these ones, they can come in different arrangements, but starting with 2 times 3 pin, 4, 5, and so on, they come up to 2 times 20 pin like this one. This is a total of 40 pin. So you have 40 wires here. Take a look, there is a different color for the wire number 1, exactly like on the others. So this is a 40 pin flat cable used for the Raspberry Pi, okay? Now, why we're dealing with these today? Simply because sometimes you may need a cable which is a bit longer than that. And if you look to buy them, if you are very lucky, you are going to find the length you need, but only if you're very lucky. But this is going to cost you somewhere between 15 to 20 bucks or even more, okay? Similarly, even this one may look long enough. This is in metric 50 centimeter. But what if you need one having in the American system, in the imperial system, 2 feet? 2 feet, they are making in the metric system somewhere around 61 centimeter. And you won't find it. Or even if you find it, because I chose a round number, 2 feet. What if you need 2.5 feet? So, better to do it yourself. Not only is going to solve your problem doing it at the length you need, but it's going to come at a much lower price, even if you have to buy a certain tool in order to be able to make it working, and of course, the cable itself. So what do you need? You need 3 things. You need to have a cable, flat cable, so you're going to, it's going to come like that, okay? A roll of cable. Then you need to order the connectors you are going to crimp on the wire, okay? And of course, the third thing you need is a tool, which is this one here. This is the crimping tool. It's like a press. We're going to use it together. And this is the cheapest one you're going to find on the market. And it just does the job. Even better if you put it like I did it now on a vise. It's going to stay in a stable position. So I'm going to be able to show you very easily how to do it. And by the way, if you really want to look for it, you don't have to buy it on Amazon. But at least you can take a look on Amazon to see. So if you take a look right here, it says IDC, remember? IDC, Insulation Displacement Contact, Flat Ribbon Cable. So it shows you different cables already made, just to see that the prices are pretty high, okay? But then, here, you find the kit. The price is pretty reasonable, but I repeat, you don't have to buy it from Amazon. And here you find exactly the tool I'm going to use. This kind of press is a little, let's call it crimping tool, okay? So that's very easy to find, and we're gonna use it in order to make our own lengths of cables. And obviously, you can make any number of them anytime you want, okay? So here, I have connectors. I'm going to pick up some. And we're going to make a 2 feet long cable. This is 16 wires. Okay. My little mobile bench has 2 feet the length. So for some reason I'm gonna tell you a bit later. You're going to make it just about 1 inch or 2 centimeters longer, okay? And yes, there are special tools, special cutters they use in the industry But for us, if you just have a good pair of scissors, they're perfect for the job. So you cut it at the length you need, okay? So once you have it cut, that's about 2 feet long, okay? How it's gonna go? The connector itself has 3 parts. These 2 ones are going to clip on the cable, and the edges here, the blades, are going to enter into the insulation and touching the inside of the stranded wire, okay? So in the most of the cases, you're going to take a look at the notch, and I'm going to place it like that, okay? You have to keep it perpendicular on the flat cable. So then you're going to put it on that support, and on that support you're going to see here or here the places where the notch of the connector is going to fit, okay? And by the way, here it has a kind of stopper, okay? This is a stopper, so it won't slide too much around. Place it back, then the stopper, and then by putting it here inside, you align it with the notch right here. Again, you double check to have it 90 degrees or perpendicular, and you crimp it. And when you do, the cable stays perfectly. But then you have a third part. All these, they come together when you order. You have a third part, and if you just fold it over the connector, you're going to place this third part in the top of it. You insert this one inside, and then you put it back here, and you just gently push it again, and this is a perfect end of it with the notch remaining outside here, okay? But then I have to attach another one on the other side. Here you have to be careful because you have to align the notches on both sides to be in the same direction, okay? So I'm going to pick up another connector, and here I'm going to do the same. So remember, this is going to be the notch. Take a look at the color on my right. Okay, so this is a blue color, and I'm going to insert this one the same way right here. And when you do, you have to be careful because you want to keep it oriented perpendicular on the cable. You double check and you crimp. When you do, you pick up the third part again, you fold it, you place this one over here in the top, like this, and this time very gently, you press it, and here it is. So now, if you take a look, you have the notch on both sides, and the pin number 1, it was the same side. You have your, take a look, you have your exactly 2 feet long cable, okay? Now, let's check it. Here I have a small PLC, and here is the output trainer. So as you can see, with the other cable already mounted here, everything is working fine. It's a longer one, it doesn't matter, okay? So I can play with it. I can revolve the motor in both directions. I can put the fan on and off, the lights also, okay? Everything is fine. I stop it, okay? So then I remove the original cable and I place the new one to see if the cable is in good condition. So on one side here, on the other side here, and you check all the lights are on, the fan is going, the motor is going one direction, is going the other direction. That's it. The cable is just fine, okay? So, something more. Let me see. I have it right here, okay? This time, I'm gonna pick up a piece of cable, 20 pin, the flat cable, and here, because of course we have our pair of scissors, I cut it straight, everything looks fine. I'm gonna pick up some connector for this kind of cable, okay? And now we're going to see what happens if you do a mistake, okay? I'm gonna pick up another one. Okay, so let's suppose we were watching the notch. The notch is on this side, is a kind of violet on the right side, okay? So then we align this one the same way and we place our cable like this and we insert it inside. But in the moment we insert it on the press, we forgot to align it properly and we crimp it. No good. So they are going to say that the cable is compromised simply because you may have multiple shortcuts right now. The blades are touching multiple wires at the same time. Surely you can try to remove this connector. And if you try to remove it, what's going to happen is by inserting any screwdriver right here to remove the connector, it's going to break because, take a look, it's breaking down. Yes, you can remove now the top part of it. You see? It's coming out. Don't put your fingers over here because the blades are very sharp, but you can see the blades entering through the cable, you see? So if you gently remove it from the connector, very good mechanical connection by the way, you can recover the cable, okay? And I can say you can use it again, okay? So if you put it properly next time, I have another one here. If next time you're going to put it properly, okay, so then the cable can be reused, okay? The tool, the press is good up to the size of the 40 pin, okay? So the biggest cable you can do with that tool is going to contain 40 wires. Actually, it's a very wide range of connections because it can go from 6 wires up to 40 wires, okay? And you can make the cables again any length you need. And the last thing I'm going to show you is that if you need, you can do things which are even more difficult to find on the market, okay? which is, for instance, if I want to, let's say, insert an additional connector on the wire, if you watch, it's going to be like that. So let's say I want or I need an extra connection somewhere on my cable, okay? Somewhere here. So then I'm going to gently place it into the tool. Be careful, you always check to be 90 degrees oriented, and by just crimping it, here it is. So the notch, which is right here, is aligned with the other one, okay? So you have a 20 pin connector here, another 20 pin connector here, and another one on the other side, okay? So by doing this, you can do something which is even more difficult to find on the market, okay? And now you have more connections available on your cable. So far, so good. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time for more. Bye-bye.